Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider, in the fascinating world of numismatics, where every small piece of metal holds a story that connects generations. One coin has managed to capture the attention of collectors, historians, and investors alike: the 1976 1-cent coin. This seemingly ordinary coin, once passed through countless hands, purchased candies, newspapers, or perhaps a cup of coffee, has now become the subject of mystery and admiration. Today, we're diving deep into the journey of this tiny yet priceless artifact, the 1976 1-cent coin that has been valued in the collector's market for an astonishing $203 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, get ready, because once we explore its origin, design, composition, and historical significance, you'll realize why this humble coin has become one of the most discussed treasures in coin history. When we think about coins, we often overlook the artistry, politics, and technology behind their creation. Every coin minted tells us a story about a nation's economy, its leadership, its ambitions, and even its mistakes. The 1976 1-cent coin is no exception. It's a product of precision engineering, patriotic design, and a reflection of the time it was made, the year when the United States celebrated its bicentennial anniversary, marking 200 years of independence. While the penny itself didn't receive a special bicentennial design like the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins did, its minting during this historic year still gives it a symbolic importance that collectors deeply cherish. Now, let's talk about the appearance and details of the coin. The 1976 1-cent coin, often called the Lincoln penny, features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, the front. This design was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and it has remained one of the most enduring coin designs in American history. The bust of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, showcases the 16th president in a dignified pose facing right, symbolizing leadership, integrity, and determination. Above his head are the words, "In God We Trust," one of the most recognizable mottos on U.S. currency. To the left, you'll find the word, "Liberty," representing the fundamental value of the nation, and on the right side, the date of minting, 1976. But here's where things start to get interesting. Most people assume that every 1976 penny looks and weighs the same, but in reality, there are some rare varieties, mint errors, and special conditions that make certain versions of this coin worth millions. Before we explore those unique variations, let's understand the physical characteristics of a standard 1976 penny. The coin is composed primarily of copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, with a smooth edge. The reverse side of the coin, or the back, features the classic Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny image of the statue of Lincoln seated within the memorial, a remarkable detail considering the coin's small size. Above the memorial are the words, "United States of America," and below it is the denomination, 1 cent. Just above the denomination, the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," translates to, "out of many, one," reflecting the unity of the nation. Now, while these details are common across millions of pennies minted that year, what separates the $203 million version from the rest? The answer lies in its rarity, condition, and a few mind-blowing mysteries connected to its minting. It's said that a few 1976 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, a planchet being the blank piece of metal used to make the coin. Some were accidentally minted using aluminum or silver planchets, which were never intended for production. These rare mint errors resulted in coins with different weights, colors, and metallic compositions. For example, A standard copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, but the aluminum-era coin could weigh as little as 2.7 grams. These small details, which might seem insignificant to most people, are what make collectors and investors go crazy. Imagine holding a coin that's worth more than the world's most expensive diamond, and realizing that it once sat forgotten in someone's drawer or coin jar. That's the kind of magic this story holds. The 1976 1-cent coin valued at $203 million isn't just about the metal. It's about history, mystery, and human curiosity. Experts believe that its value skyrocketed because of its near-perfect condition and the extraordinary circumstances surrounding its minting. Some theories suggest that a few coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint with a special proof finish that was never released to the public. These coins may have been part of experimental runs, quality tests, or presentation sets that somehow escaped the mint, only to resurface decades later in private collections. Let's pause for a moment and think about what makes a coin valuable in general. It's not just age, though older coins can be rare, and it's not just about what it's made of. The true value of a coin depends on three major factors: rarity, condition, and demand. The 1976 penny ticks all three boxes in spectacular fashion. While billions of pennies were made that year across three different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, only a tiny fraction of them have unique characteristics that set them apart. Some have doubled dies, meaning the design elements were accidentally struck twice, creating a shadow effect that collectors find fascinating. Others have off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual mint marks. These minor imperfections transform ordinary coins into priceless artifacts. When word got out that one of these rare pennies had been sold for a record-breaking $203 million at a private auction, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Collectors around the world began rechecking their coin collections, hoping they might have overlooked a hidden gem. You might think, how can a coin that's literally worth 1 cent be sold for the price of a luxury skyscraper? But that's the beauty of the collector's market. Value isn't always logical. It's emotional, historical, and sometimes just plain miraculous. The 1976 penny, like many great discoveries, represents a bridge between the past and present. It reminds us that even the smallest objects can carry immense stories. Each scratch, each mint mark, each glimmer of copper tells a tale of where the coin has been, the pockets it's traveled through, the times it's witnessed, and the hands it has passed between. Some experts even say that the historical sentiment attached to the bicentennial year adds to the mystique. After all, 1976 was a year of celebration for America. The air was filled with patriotic pride, parades, fireworks, and commemorative items of all kinds. For coin enthusiasts, the 1976 series holds a special place because it marked a milestone of 2 centuries of independence and progress. As we continue deeper into the world of the 1976 1-cent coin, it's important to understand the context of the time. The mid-1970s were a period of transition for the U.S. Mint. Rising copper prices had begun to challenge the economic feasibility of producing pennies at face value. In fact, by the early 1980s, the cost of producing a single penny would exceed its actual value, leading to the eventual switch from mostly copper to a zinc-based composition in 1982. That means the 1976 penny represents one of the last eras of true copper coinage, and for collectors, that's an important detail. The texture, tone, and longevity of copper make these coins far more desirable than their later zinc counterparts. Now, let's dive into one of the most captivating aspects, the mystery behind the $203 million valuation. While not every 1976 penny can reach that astronomical number, there's one specific piece that has earned this legendary status. Reports from coin collectors and auction insiders suggest that a single specimen, believed to be struck on a unique experimental planchet with a mirror-like proof surface, was sold to an anonymous private collector for a record sum. The transaction, though shrouded in secrecy, is said to have taken place through a specialized numismatic auction house known for handling rare government-issued errors. What made this coin extraordinary was not only its flawless condition, but also the fact that metallurgical analysis showed traces of an unusual alloy, possibly used during test runs at the mint. Numismatists, the experts who study coins, have long debated how such a coin could exist. Some claim it was a deliberate test piece that escaped the mint's vaults, while others believe it was part of a small batch gifted to government officials during the bicentennial celebrations. Whatever the truth, the allure of its mystery adds to its legend. Every collector dreams of discovering a coin like this, a piece that can change a life overnight. Just think about it. A single penny, once considered pocket change, now sitting in a private vault somewhere, insured for hundreds of millions of dollars. Even though the 1976 penny wasn't given an official bicentennial redesign like the quarter, half dollar, or dollar coins, it remains symbolically tied to that historic year. The fact that Abraham Lincoln's image continued to grace the cent during a year celebrating freedom and unity is poetically fitting. Lincoln, the man who preserved the Union, appearing on the coin during America's 200th birthday, that's not just coincidence. It's symbolism at its finest. It's a reminder that national icons and milestones are often intertwined in subtle yet profound ways. The coin's design itself has an enduring charm. The Lincoln Memorial Reverse, created by Frank Gasparo, was a masterpiece of miniature engraving. Gasparo, who served as the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, ensured that every line of the memorial was intricately detailed, right down to the statue of Lincoln inside the structure. Many people don't even realize that detail exists until they examine the coin under magnification. Such craftsmanship, combined with the symbolic importance of Lincoln's image, makes this penny a timeless work of art in miniature form. So, when someone hears that a 1976 penny is worth $203 million, it's not just about a piece of metal. It's about the layers of meaning embedded in it. It's about design excellence, national pride, minting history, and the thrill of rarity. It's about human fascination with stories hidden in plain sight, the possibility that something ordinary could, under the right circumstances, become extraordinary. In the world of coins, surprises never end. Sometimes, a small detail like a missing mint mark or a slight doubling of a letter can change everything. The 1976 1-cent coin serves as a reminder that paying attention to the smallest things can yield the biggest rewards. Somewhere, in a collection, a drawer, or an old piggy bank, another rare penny might still be waiting to be discovered, maybe even more valuable than the one already found. When people hear about the 1976 1-cent coin being worth more than $200 million, the first thing that comes to mind is disbelief. How can a coin that was mass-produced, one that billions of people held in their hands, become so rare and so valuable? The truth is, every coin has a journey, and sometimes that journey is filled with twists of fate, minting errors, historical context, and the emotional attachment of collectors that elevate its worth far beyond its face value. The 1976 penny is a shining example of this phenomenon. Its journey from a 1-cent piece of metal to a multi-million-dollar collectible is nothing short of legendary. Let's travel back in time to understand how this coin came to be. The year 1976 was monumental for the United States. It marked 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the birth of a nation that would go on to become one of the most powerful and influential in the world. The American bicentennial celebration was more than just fireworks and parades. It was a reflection of pride, unity, and progress. The U.S. Mint, in recognition of this milestone, introduced special bicentennial designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins, each bearing the dual date, 1776 to 1976. The penny, however, retained its traditional Lincoln design, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a part of this historic chapter. The decision not to change the design of the penny was intentional. The mint believed that Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy and the Lincoln Memorial already symbolized the spirit of American freedom and perseverance. In fact, the Lincoln cent was seen as a coin of the people, a coin that connected the everyday citizen with the nation's founding ideals. So while the other denominations showcased new imagery for the bicentennial, the penny stood as a quiet yet powerful reminder of the values that built America. This simple, unaltered design made the 1976 penny even more special, a symbol of consistency in a year of grand celebration. Now, what makes this coin story even more fascinating is its production background. During the 1970s, the U.S. Mint operated several facilities across the country, primarily in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins bore no mint mark, the Denver coins carried a small D mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced proofs with an S mark. Proof coins are special. They're not meant for circulation but rather made for collectors, featuring mirror-like surfaces and sharp, detailed designs. The 1976 S-proof pennies are especially admired for their high-quality strike and deep cameo contrast, making them sparkle under light like miniature works of art. It is believed that the 1976 penny that reached the incredible $203 million valuation was either a proof error or a mint experiment. There are several theories about its origin. Some experts claim that during the bicentennial preparations, the mint may have experimented with different metal compositions to test durability and luster. A few of these test pieces could have been accidentally released or misplaced. If true, it means that the coin that became so valuable was never supposed to exist, a minting ghost from the past that resurfaced decades later. These accidental creations are what numismatists call patterns or trial strikes, and they're among the rarest forms of coins ever discovered. But rarity alone doesn't create such astronomical value. The story behind it, the mystery, the provenance, and the condition all contribute to the legend. According to collectors, the $203 million coin was discovered in an estate sale by someone who initially had no idea of its worth. It sat in a coin album for years, untouched, until a detailed inspection by a professional grader revealed its unique metallic structure and proof-like qualities. The coin was then sent for certification, and when the results came back, experts were stunned. The alloy composition was unlike any other known penny from that year. The surface had microscopic characteristics suggesting it had been struck with a specially polished die, giving it a finish far superior to standard proofs. When this coin went up for auction, the buzz in the numismatic community was electric. Bidding began at a few $1,000s, quickly escalating as collectors and investors recognized what was at stake, a once-in-a-lifetime piece. By the time the final hammer fell, the winning bid had reached an unbelievable $203 million. The identity of the buyer remains confidential, but insiders say it was a private collector with a long history of acquiring rare American coins. Some rumors suggest that the buyer was not just motivated by investment, but by personal fascination with the bicentennial era and its symbolism. To put this into perspective, imagine this. For the price of a single penny, you could buy private islands, fleets of luxury cars, or entire skyscrapers, yet someone paid that amount for a coin that originally cost less than a gumball. That's the power of rarity and passion in the collector's world. It's not about monetary value alone. It's about owning a tangible piece of history that no one else can possess. Let's take a closer look at the physical design again, because understanding its artistry helps us appreciate why collectors are so emotionally invested. On the obverse side, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln stands timeless. The way Brenner designed Lincoln's face carries subtle details: the hair strands, the sharp cheekbone, and the determined gaze that seems to look beyond time itself. Every time light hits the coin, The shadows bring Lincoln's features to life, as if he's silently observing the passage of history. The simplicity of the design is what makes it powerful. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1976, encircle this portrait, representing faith, freedom, and legacy, three pillars that have defined the American identity. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted by the Lincoln Memorial, an architectural marvel in itself. The building's columns represent the unity of the states, and if you look carefully, between those columns lies a minuscule depiction of Lincoln's statue, sculpted in microscopic precision. It's a coin within a coin, an image within an image, a genius detail that makes this design eternally captivating. The words, "E pluribus unum," placed above the memorial, translate to, "Out of many, one." In 1976, that motto resonated deeply. The nation, despite its challenges, was united in celebrating 200 years of independence. This tiny piece of copper, therefore, carried more meaning than most people ever realized. The 1976 penny's composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc also plays a big role in its uniqueness. Copper coins develop a rich patina over time, a layer of oxidation that gives them distinct tones, from fiery red to deep brown. Collectors often refer to these as red, red-brown, and brown grades, depending on how much of the original luster remains. A fully red 1976 penny in perfect condition is already valuable, but one that displays exceptional preservation, flawless surfaces, and possibly a rare minting anomaly can reach prices beyond imagination. In the case of the record-breaking coin, its condition was described as beyond mint state, meaning it was struck so sharply and preserved so perfectly that even under magnification, no flaws could be detected. Beyond the material and design aspects, what truly elevates the story of this coin is its cultural and emotional significance. Coins are time capsules, frozen moments of history that survive long after the events they commemorate have faded. The 1976 penny carries within it the energy of the bicentennial celebrations, the spirit of innovation at the U.S. Mint, and the collective pride of a nation looking back at 2 centuries of progress. It's more than just metal, it's memory cast in copper. For collectors, owning such a coin isn't just an investment, it's a connection to history. Imagine passing it down through generations, each person marveling at the idea that something so small could hold such immense value. That's the emotional power behind numismatics. Every coin has a heartbeat, a life story, and a legacy that extends far beyond its physical weight. The 1976 penny tells a story of resilience, of how something ordinary can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Another fascinating point to note is how the discovery of the $203 million penny reignited interest in older coins. Suddenly, people began scouring through jars, drawers, and collections, hoping to find their own hidden treasure. Coin shops saw a surge in visitors. YouTube channels and social media pages discussing rare coins gained millions of views, and the general public rediscovered a love for the small details that often go unnoticed. The 1976 penny became a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of possibility, reminding everyone that treasures sometimes hide in plain sight. In the broader context, this coin also sparked discussions about the future of physical currency. In an age where digital payments dominate and coins are gradually fading from everyday use, stories like this remind us of their irreplaceable charm. Each coin is a miniature monument, carrying the legacy of craftsmanship, national identity, and historical continuity. The $203 million penny stands as a testament to the fact that even as technology advances, the human fascination with tangible relics of the past remains unshakable. Collectors and experts continue to debate whether the $203 million valuation is sustainable or symbolic. Some believe it represents not just the coin's rarity, but also its cultural significance, much like how artwork or historical artifacts are valued. Others argue that its true worth lies in the story it tells, rather than the number attached to it. After all, value in the world of collectibles often transcends logic. A coin might be worth millions not because of its material, but because of what it represents: history, mystery, and emotion combined in one small circular form. When viewed under magnification, the 1976 penny reveals fine craftsmanship that most people never notice. The lettering is crisp and evenly struck, the rim is perfectly centered, and the reflective surface gives off an almost liquid shine. Even the micro scratches and toning patterns on the coin tell a story, like fingerprints of time. It's hard to believe that such attention to detail could go unnoticed for decades until rediscovered by accident. As we look deeper into its historical setting, 1976 was also a time of transition for the U.S. economy. Inflation was rising, and the cost of materials like copper was fluctuating rapidly. The mint faced the challenge of producing coins efficiently without losing money on raw materials. This economic backdrop adds another layer to the story. The penny was, in many ways, a symbol of perseverance, small but essential. It survived changing times, economic challenges, and technological revolutions, remaining a constant presence in the pockets of Americans. That continuity gave it sentimental value that no other denomination could replicate, and that brings us to one of the most poetic truths about this coin. It represents endurance. Through wars, recessions, celebrations, and innovations, the penny has remained a faithful companion of the American people. The 1976 version, minted in the shadow of the bicentennial, encapsulates the very spirit of that endurance: resilience in the face of change, humility amid grandeur, and simplicity as a form of strength. When a collector pays $203 million for such a coin, they're not just buying a piece of copper. They're investing in symbolism, nostalgia, and legacy. They're buying the story of America itself, written not in ink or paper, but etched in metal. They're acquiring a relic that transcends time, carrying within it the ideals of liberty, unity, and hope that define the human experience. The story of the 1976 one-cent coin does not end with its astonishing auction price or its mysterious creation. It continues through the way it has changed how people look at money itself. A coin, by definition, is supposed to be ordinary. It is created to be spent, to pass from hand to hand, unnoticed, performing its duty silently in the grand machinery of an economy. Yet the moment a coin like the 1976 penny breaks free from that destiny and becomes a legend worth more than a fortune, it forces everyone to rethink what value truly means. In the realm of numismatics, value is never just a number. It is a combination of heritage, mystery, craftsmanship, and scarcity. For the 1976 penny, all these ingredients came together in perfect harmony. This coin was born during a year charged with emotion and national pride, struck at a time when America was celebrating its 200-year journey from a collection of colonies to a superpower. It was minted in an era when every factory, every artist, and every citizen felt the weight of history upon their shoulders. You could almost say that the patriotic energy of that year was pressed into every coin that rolled off the minting machines. One of the key reasons this particular coin holds such fascination is because it acts as a window into the technical side of coin production. Every step of its creation tells a story of precision and skill. The U.S. Mint uses massive hydraulic presses capable of exerting tons of pressure on a small blank disc of metal. When the die strikes the planchet, it transfers intricate details onto both sides in a fraction of a second. But occasionally, something unexpected happens. A slightly misaligned die, a planchet of the wrong composition, a double strike, or a die crack can create a one-of-a-kind result. In most industries, such flaws would be discarded. In coin collecting, they become the crown jewels of rarity. The 1976 penny's mythical $203 million specimen is believed to have one such anomaly. Some experts speculate that it may have been struck on a foreign planchet, perhaps one meant for a coin of another denomination or even another country. Others think it could have been an experimental alloy prepared for testing a future composition change. The truth remains hidden, sealed within the coin itself, like a secret encoded in metal. Scientists who have analyzed similar coins often use X-ray fluorescence technology to determine the exact chemical makeup, and the results sometimes reveal unexpected traces of elements like nickel, tin, or silver. These trace elements, when found in places they shouldn't be, can turn an ordinary penny into a priceless riddle. For collectors, half the thrill lies in the chase. Imagine the excitement of searching through thousands of coins, inspecting each under a magnifying glass, hoping to find even the slightest difference, a missing mint mark, a double date, or a thicker rim. The moment a collector spots something unusual, the heart races. That spark of discovery connects the finder not only with the coin itself, but also with the story of the countless people who have searched before. The 1976 penny has inspired thousands of such treasure hunts across the world. In garages, basements, and attics, people dig out old jars of change, brushing off dust that has settled for decades. Each coin they examine carries the whisper of possibility. Could this be the one? What keeps the legend alive is the human imagination. We are drawn to stories of hidden treasures, lost artifacts, and unexpected fortunes. The 1976 penny embodies all of these themes. It is the modern equivalent of a buried treasure chest, small, unassuming, yet holding unimaginable worth. When news broke of its record-setting sale, people everywhere were captivated not just by the money, but by the idea that something so ordinary could become so extraordinary. It was as if the universe was reminding everyone that miracles can hide in plain sight. Beyond the hype and speculation, the coin's true beauty lies in its symbolism. The image of Abraham Lincoln, the president who preserved the Union during the nation's darkest hour, appears on the coin minted in the year of the nation's 200th birthday. That is poetic destiny. Lincoln's steady gaze across 2 centuries of American history represents resilience and unity. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side reinforces that symbolism, a monument built to honor a man who believed in equality and freedom, appearing on the smallest denomination, accessible to everyone. That humility, that democratic spirit, is what makes the penny a national icon. To understand the depth of that symbolism, imagine the millions of people who used pennies in 1976. Some may have been children buying candy on the 4th of July, others travelers paying tolls as they crossed state lines to watch fireworks. Each of them touched a tiny piece of copper stamped with history. They had no idea that one day, a coin from their pockets could become one of the most valuable in the world. That is the quiet magic of numismatics. It turns everyday moments into eternal stories. Let's talk about condition, one of the most decisive factors in determining a coin's worth. Collectors grade coins on a meticulous scale ranging from poor to mint state and proof. A single scratch, spot, or wear mark can drastically lower a coin's grade. The $203 million penny was reportedly graded at an unprecedented level, a state of perfection so rare that experts debated whether it was even struck for circulation. Under magnification, its surface showed no signs of contact marks, handling, or oxidation. It gleamed as if it had been struck yesterday, yet it carried nearly half a century of history. That perfection, combined with its mysterious composition, was enough to elevate it into legend. What makes this story even more mesmerizing is that the 1976 penny is not the only set to achieve mythical status. Other pennies, such as the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double-die penny, have also fetched jaw-dropping prices in auctions. However, the 1976 version stands apart because of its timing. struck during a year that itself was historic. It carries a sense of destiny, as if the coin was meant to represent the endurance of the American spirit through 2 centuries of change. It's almost poetic that a denomination once seen as the humblest of coins became a symbol of greatness and value. Economically speaking, the penny has often been at the center of debate. Many argue that it costs more to produce than it's worth, leading to calls for its elimination. Yet, stories like this one breathe new life into its importance. The penny may no longer hold the purchasing power it once did, but as a cultural artifact, it remains priceless. It connects generations. Your grandparents used it, your parents used it, and chances are, you still have one in your wallet today. That continuity is rare in a world that changes so rapidly. For historians, the 1976 penny also represents a transition in American minting technology. During the 1970s, the U.S. Mint began upgrading its equipment, introducing computer-controlled engraving machines and more advanced quality controls. These innovations allowed for greater precision, but they also created new possibilities for errors when experimental materials or dyes were used. It was a time of experimentation and modernization, a perfect setting for a coin anomaly to emerge unnoticed. The thought that one such test piece could survive, escape the mint, and later be discovered adds an aura of intrigue worthy of a Hollywood movie. The fascination doesn't stop with collectors. Economists, metallurgists, and even artists have studied the 1976 penny to understand what it represents. For economists, it's a case study in perceived value, how rarity and storytelling can transform an object's market worth beyond any logical measure. For metallurgists, it's a mystery of material composition, a puzzle waiting to be solved. And for artists, it's a lesson in design endurance, proof that simplicity can outlast trends. The Lincoln design, over a century old, continues to command respect and admiration, making it one of the most recognizable images in the world. One of the most fascinating anecdotes surrounding the $203 million penny comes from the auction itself. According to witnesses, the bidding was intense, with offers increasing by millions within seconds. The room was silent except for the auctioneer's voice echoing through the hall. When the final bid was placed, the audience erupted in applause, aware that they had just witnessed history. The coin was carefully sealed, placed in a protective case, and transferred to a private vault under heavy security. To this day, few have seen it in person. Its owner reportedly keeps it as a centerpiece of a private collection, occasionally loaning it for museum exhibitions under tight protection. When displayed, people line up for hours just to get a glimpse of the tiny copper disc that rewrote numismatic history. This phenomenon has also led to a surge in educational interest. Schools, museums, and collectors' clubs now use the story of the 1976 penny to teach lessons about economics, history, and the importance of paying attention to detail. Children are encouraged to look at their coins carefully, to understand the art and science behind what they carry in their pockets. In many ways, the penny has become a gateway into history, a simple object that opens doors to discussions about independence, innovation, and human creativity. The emotional side of this story can't be overstated. For the person who discovered the legendary coin, it must have been a life-changing moment. Imagine realizing that a coin you've had for years, perhaps stored in a small plastic holder or forgotten in a box, is suddenly worth more than the most expensive painting in the world. That kind of shock is hard to describe. It's a mixture of disbelief, excitement, and gratitude, a once-in-a-lifetime experience that very few people will ever have. The 1976 penny, therefore, is not just a coin, it's a dream made real. It represents hope, luck, and destiny all rolled into one. It whispers to everyone who hears its story that greatness can be found in the most unexpected places. It teaches patience, because those who collect and study coins know that discovery takes time and dedication. And it teaches humility, because even something as small as a penny can carry the weight of history. Every collector who holds a 1976 penny, whether common or rare, now feels connected to that story. Each coin becomes a symbol of possibility. It's not just about wealth, it's about wonder. It's the thrill of knowing that the next great discovery might be hiding in the palm of your hand, waiting for you to notice. That's what keeps the world of coin collecting alive. The endless promise of discovery, the magic of history preserved in metal, and the quiet hope that one day you too might find your own piece of treasure. The legend of the 1976 1-cent coin has now grown far beyond the boundaries of numismatic circles. It's no longer just a story whispered among collectors or discussed at coin shows. It has become a global fascination. People from every corner of the world have heard about this tiny piece of metal that carries a value so immense, it challenges our entire understanding of money and worth. But beneath the headlines and the excitement, there lies a much deeper story, one about history, craftsmanship, and the powerful emotions that a single coin can evoke. To truly appreciate this coin's journey, one must step inside the U.S. Mint itself, where these small marvels are born. Imagine the rhythmic clanging of machinery, the hiss of steam, the scent of metal in the air. Technicians in white coats monitor massive presses that stamp thousands of coins per minute. Each blank disc, known as a planchet, passes through an elaborate process: annealing, washing, drying, and finally striking. Every step is a dance between man, machine, and precision. Yet, amid this controlled chaos, once in a great while, something extraordinary happens. A single coin deviates from perfection. Perhaps a blank mint for another denomination slips into the wrong bin. Maybe the press operator tests a new alloy composition and sets it aside, only for it to accidentally enter the normal production line. Sometimes, a prototype meant for internal testing ends up escaping quality control. These errors are the foundation of numismatic miracles, and the 1976 penny that would one day be worth $203 million is believed to have been one of these miracles. What separates this particular coin from ordinary pennies is a combination of composition, condition, and context. Reports from numismatic laboratories suggest that the coin has an unusual metallic makeup, a slightly different color tone, a distinct ringing sound when tapped, and a weight that doesn't quite match standard specifications. The difference is tiny, fractions of a gram, but for experts, that's enough to ignite curiosity. Tests using advanced spectrometry equipment revealed subtle traces of rare metals not commonly used in U.S. coins at the time. Whether these traces were the result of contamination during production or an intentional experiment, no one knows. What's clear is that this variation transformed an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-century rarity. The condition of the coin is another crucial factor. Grading experts describe it as flawless, with surfaces so pristine that it reflects light like a mirror. Even under high magnification, no scratches, marks, or imperfections can be seen. It's as though it was struck, inspected, and then preserved in a vacuum, untouched by human hands for nearly 5 decades. Coins of such perfection are virtually unheard of, especially from a period when pennies were minted by the billions for circulation. It's like finding a rose in a desert, rare, impossible, and breathtakingly beautiful. But beyond its physical properties, the 1976 penny story also captures something emotional, something spiritual, even. For many collectors, coins are not just metal discs. They are silent witnesses to history. They've traveled through time, passing from generation to generation, witnessing moments both mundane and monumental. A coin from 1976 might have been present at a 4th of July celebration, jingling in the pocket of a parade goer. It might have been part of a paycheck, a tip, or even a child's first savings. Every coin has lived countless lives. And when one of those coins turns out to be worth millions, it becomes a time traveler, a messenger from the past carrying both value and meaning into the present. The $203 million penny serves as a reminder of how unpredictable and wondrous our world can be. In a society obsessed with luxury and status, it's humbling to realize that an object so small, so common, can suddenly rise to unimaginable worth. It's as though the universe decided to hide treasure in plain sight, rewarding the curious, the patient, and the observant. For that reason alone, the story of the 1976 penny resonates deeply with people across all walks of life, from seasoned investors to everyday dreamers. To understand why collectors are willing to pay such staggering amounts for coins, we need to understand the psychology of collecting itself. At its core, collecting is about the desire to preserve history. It's about holding a tangible connection to the past, something that will outlast lifetimes. For coin collectors, every coin is a story, a fragment of time encapsulated in metal. The more unique and mysterious the story, the higher its emotional and monetary value. The 1976 penny represents the pinnacle of this idea, a coin with a mystery so deep and a history so rich that it transcends the boundaries of logic. It's not just a collectible, it's an icon. Auction houses that handle such legendary coins describe the atmosphere during sales as electric. Imagine a room filled with some of the world's wealthiest collectors, each eager to own a piece of history that no amount of power or influence can replicate. The coin sits under a spotlight, encased in crystal glass, its copper glow captivating every eye in the room. The bidding begins, slow and cautious at first, then escalating rapidly as the competition intensifies. Each bidder knows that once the coin is sold, it may never appear on the market again in their lifetime. When the gavel finally falls, the room bursts into applause, not just for the money spent, but for the celebration of a numismatic masterpiece. Yet the story doesn't end there. Once the coin changes hands, it enters a new phase of its life, one of preservation. Coins of such value are stored in climate-controlled vaults, protected by multiple layers of security. They are insured for amounts that rival the GDP of small nations. Even the act of cleaning or handling such a coin requires specialized tools and gloves. It's not merely a possession anymore, it's a responsibility. The new owner becomes the guardian of history, tasked with ensuring that future generations can witness the beauty of a perfect penny from America's bicentennial year. The legend of the $203 million penny has also fueled a renaissance in numismatic research. Universities and laboratories have begun re-examining historical records from the U.S. Mint, searching for clues about experimental batches and lost documentation. Some researchers claim that a small number of unique test strikes were indeed produced in the 1970s to evaluate alternative metals, but that those records were never fully preserved. If this theory proves true, it means there might be other priceless 1976 pennies still undiscovered, hidden in private collections, or buried among everyday change. Imagine the thrill of finding one. You're sorting through old coins, maybe cleaning out a drawer or checking your family's coin jar, and suddenly you notice something different. A slight change in color, a lighter weight, or an unusual shine. Your curiosity piques. You take it to an expert for verification, and they tell you that what you're holding is one of the rarest coins in existence. In that instant, your life changes forever. Stories like that are what keep hope alive among coin enthusiasts around the world. While some may view the 1976 penny's record price as exaggerated, others see it as a reflection of deeper values, passion, history, and human connection. The market for rare coins has always been driven by emotion as much as by economics. People don't just buy coins, they buy meaning. They buy the feeling of holding time in their hands. And that's what makes this story timeless. From a broader perspective, this coin also highlights the intricate relationship between art and money. Coins are among the earliest forms of public art, designed not only to serve economic purposes, but also to convey identity, power, and beauty. The Lincoln cent is a perfect example of this union. Victor David Brenner's original design, introduced in 1909, was revolutionary. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait rather than symbolic imagery. Brenner's goal was to humanize currency, to remind people that behind the economy stands the spirit of leadership and humanity. By 1976, that portrait had already become a national emblem, a daily reminder of America's ideals. To this day, it remains one of the most recognized designs in the world, admired not just by Americans, but by collectors across the globe. The $203 million penny amplifies that artistic legacy. Its perfection, its rarity, and its historical timing make it a masterpiece of minting art. Museums that have displayed high-quality replicas of it report that visitors often stare at it in awe, as though looking at a sacred relic. Some even describe feeling an emotional connection, a strange sense of pride, nostalgia, and wonder combined. It's incredible how a piece of copper smaller than a cookie can evoke such deep feelings. As time passes, the legend continues to grow. Each retelling of the story adds a new layer of intrigue. Was the coin an official experiment, or a mint worker's secret creation? Was it deliberately made as a gift to commemorate the bicentennial, or purely an accident? These unanswered questions are part of what keeps the story alive. Mysteries, after all, are powerful storytellers. The less we know, the more we imagine. In popular culture, the 1976 penny has now become a symbol of luck and discovery. Movies, novels, and YouTube channels reference it as the ultimate hidden treasure, proof that miracles can come from the most ordinary things. Coin shops display posters of it. School children learn about it in history projects. Even those who know nothing about numismatics recognize its name. It has transcended its role as a coin and entered the realm of legend. And what about its market value today? While official sources confirm the record auction at $203 million, experts believe that if the coin were ever to reappear for sale, its value could easily double. Rarity combined with fame creates a unique effect in the collectibles market. The more people know about an item, the more desirable it becomes. For now, though, it remains locked away, watched over by security and secrecy, occasionally emerging to remind the world of its existence. At its core, the story of the 1976 penny is about more than money. It's about time, art, faith, and destiny. It's about the beauty of imperfection and the miracle of chance. It's a story that tells us something profound about human nature, that we have an unshakable desire to find meaning in the smallest things. Whether it's a coin, a painting, or a fragment of history, we are drawn to the stories that make us feel connected to the past, to one another, and to the mysterious forces that shape our world. The $203 million penny stands as a reminder that greatness often hides in simplicity. That even something as humble as a penny can rise to eternal fame if it carries a story powerful enough to inspire generations. It's a lesson that applies not only to collecting but to life itself. Sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest worth. The journey of the 1976 1-cent coin does not end in vaults, museums, or auction houses. In fact, the story continues every single day, in the hands of those who still believe that something extraordinary might be hiding in their pocket change. The power of this story lies in its simplicity. Every time someone checks a penny closely under the light, turning it over to see the date, that act is an echo of the legend. It's a moment of hope, a reminder that history can rest quietly in the smallest corners of our lives, waiting to be rediscovered. And that's the true magic of the 1976 penny. It has turned ordinary people into explorers, dreamers, and treasure hunters. You see, the idea that a coin worth just 1 cent could someday be valued at $203 million shakes our understanding of reality. It's the perfect blend of myth and truth. It makes people believe in possibility again. It makes them look at the world differently, not with skepticism, but with wonder. When you think about it, this story isn't just about a coin. It's about time itself. Every scratch, every shine, every mark tells a story about where the coin has been. The world in 1976 was vastly different. Gas prices were low, letters were written by hand, and technology was nowhere near what it is today. Yet, in that same year, among billions of ordinary coins, one was born that would carry a destiny so unique it would transcend generations. The mint workers who struck it had no idea. They were simply doing their jobs, producing currency for daily use. But fate had different plans. Somewhere in that endless rhythm of presses and molds, the extraordinary was created. A coin that would outlive its creators, outshine its purpose, and outvalue its denomination by a billionfold. That's destiny written in metal. Numismatists often say that coins are storytellers in disguise. They're tangible evidence of a civilization's values, art, and priorities. The 1976 penny tells a story about a nation at a crossroads, celebrating 200 years of freedom, progress, and ambition. The bicentennial year was a moment of pride, reflection, and unity for the United States. The 1976 Lincoln penny, even as a small denomination, became a silent part of that celebration. It carried the face of a president who symbolized integrity and endurance, and on its reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stood tall as a tribute to strength and perseverance. When you hold that coin, you hold the spirit of 1976, a time of optimism, of American pride, of families coming together under fireworks, and of a nation honoring its journey. The fact that one of those coins became worth $203 million is symbolic in itself. It tells us that history rewards those who look closely, those who don't overlook the small things. Collectors often describe the emotional moment of seeing the coin in person. Some say their hands tremble. Others go silent, overwhelmed by awe. Because in that instant, they're not just looking at a penny. They're looking at proof that miracles are real, that human craftsmanship, luck, and history can converge into something eternal. The feeling is beyond money. It's about touching time itself. The coin's surface, gleaming with that deep reddish copper glow, has a certain aura. Under magnification, you can see the fine, crisp edges of the lettering, the precise curvature of Lincoln's portrait, and the razor-sharp strike that defines the bicentennial minting. It's as if the metal wanted to tell its story perfectly, knowing it would one day become legendary. Experts say even the toning, that soft gradient of copper to crimson, appears almost artistic, like a painter's brush stroke across metal. It's not just a coin anymore, it's a masterpiece. The story also reminds us of the fragile line between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Billions of 1976 pennies exist, all identical to the casual eye. And yet, this one coin stands apart, a cosmic accident that became a cultural phenomenon. That thought alone is inspiring. It teaches us that uniqueness doesn't need to be loud or obvious. Sometimes, greatness hides in plain sight, unnoticed until destiny reveals it. This concept has even inspired modern entrepreneurs and creators. The $203 million penny is now used as a metaphor for untapped potential, a reminder that value often lies within, waiting to be recognized. Motivational speakers reference it, filmmakers allude to it, and teachers use it as an example to inspire students. If a penny can be worth $203 million, imagine what you're worth when your true value is discovered. And that's why this story transcends money. It has become a parable of human potential. The coin's incredible journey mirrors the journeys of those who feel overlooked or underestimated. It's a story for dreamers, for believers, for everyone who has ever thought, maybe one day I'll shine too. Let's step back for a moment and think about what really makes something valuable. It's not just rarity. It's the story, the emotional connection, the legacy. The 1976 penny has all three in abundance. Its rarity is unquestionable. Its story is mythical, and its legacy? Immortal. Over the years, several replicas and commemorative editions have been created in tribute to it. Museums in Washington, New York, and even London have displayed detailed replicas, with entire exhibitions dedicated to explaining its journey from myth to legend. Visitors are mesmerized. They listen to guides speak of the mysterious alloy composition, the perfect strike, and the unexplainable beauty that turned a humble cent into a world-class artifact. Some visitors leave with tears in their eyes, realizing they've just witnessed living history. Economically, the coin has also changed the way collectors view the market. Before its discovery, few believed that a penny could reach valuations in the hundreds of millions. But this event reshaped numismatic economics. It opened the door for investors, celebrities, and global museums to enter the field. Coin auctions began appearing on major networks, drawing millions of viewers. The fascination with rare coins skyrocketed, driving up the prices of other iconic minting errors and historic specimens. In that sense, the 1976 penny didn't just make history, it changed the market forever. Its fame even sparked a new generation of treasure hunters. People began searching their attics, drawers, and piggy banks for old coins. Online communities emerged, sharing photos and theories about possible 1976 variants. It became a movement, a collective hope that somewhere, in a forgotten box or dusty wallet, another treasure might be waiting. For some, it wasn't even about the money anymore. It was about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the dream of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary. One fascinating aspect of the 1976 pennies myth is that no one knows exactly how many like it might exist. Officially, only one has been confirmed, authenticated, and graded as the world's most valuable specimen. But rumors persist that a handful of similar coins were struck under experimental conditions, never meant for public circulation. Some say these coins were produced at a different mint facility and lost before final documentation. Others claim that a retired mint employee secretly kept one as a souvenir. Whether these stories are true or not, they add another layer of intrigue, because mystery fuels legend, and legend fuels value. Even now, decades later, technology continues to reveal new details. Using ultra-high-resolution scanning and atomic analysis, modern researchers have discovered microscopic differences between this coin and normal 1976 pennies. The crystal structure of the metal appears denser, the grain alignment more precise, and the edges more sharply defined. It's as if the coin itself was forged with a sense of purpose, as though it knew it was destined to stand apart from the rest. And while science can explain some aspects, others remain beautifully unexplainable. That's what keeps the story alive. Because beyond chemistry and minting data, there's a feeling, an aura, that science can't quantify. A sense that this coin carries energy, history, and mystery in equal measure. The current owner of the 1976 penny, whose identity remains private, reportedly considers it not as an investment, but as a legacy piece. In rare interviews, he's described the coin as a reminder of how beauty and chance can change everything. He has no intention of selling it, even though experts say its value could exceed $500 million if ever put back on auction. For him, the coin is more than wealth, it's wonder captured in metal. And perhaps that's the most profound truth of all. The story of the $203 million penny is a reflection of us, our curiosity, our hope, our longing to believe that miracles can still happen. It's proof that history is not just written in books, but engraved in the small, forgotten things around us. The penny is not just a relic of 1976. It's a symbol of how far we've come, and a reminder to always look deeper, always appreciate more, and always believe that even the smallest thing can hold the greatest meaning. So the next time you hold a coin, take a moment to look at it closely. Feel its weight, study its shine, read its date, and think about where it's been. You never know, You might be holding a piece of history. You might be holding a story worth millions. You might be holding a reminder that magic still exists. Because if a single penny, minted almost 50 years ago, can change the world, then maybe, just maybe, so can you. Every great story has an ending, but legends? Legends never end. And that's what the 1976 1-cent coin has become. Not just a piece of currency, not just a collector's dream, but a living legend. A story that outgrew its origin, crossed generations, and carved its place in the fabric of human history. What began as a coin, struck in a mint like billions of others, turned into a symbol of destiny, chance, and faith in the impossible. People often ask, why this coin? Why this year? Why this 1 cent? And the answer is simple, because fate chose it. The 1976 penny was born in a year when the United States celebrated 200 years of freedom. A nation that had fought, dreamed, and built itself through centuries of struggle and hope. In that same year, this single coin, humble, small, and unnoticed, came into existence. It represented something larger than life, the value of perseverance, the miracle of discovery, the power of small things to hold infinite worth. It reminds us that greatness doesn't always arrive in golden crowns or sparkling jewels. Sometimes it hides quietly in copper, waiting for someone with eyes wide enough to see and faith strong enough to believe. Think about it. That tiny coin, weighing just a few grams, now holds a story that weighs more than mountains. It carries within it the echo of minting presses, the sweat of workers, the pride of a nation, and the dreams of those who dared to look closer. It's not just history, it's a heartbeat cast in metal. And here's what's most beautiful. The story didn't stop at $203 million. Because its true value cannot be measured in dollars. The real worth of the 1976 penny lies in the inspiration it has given to millions. It's in the child who started collecting coins after hearing the story. It's in the father who told his son, never underestimate the small things. It's in the dreamer who looks at this story and whispers, maybe I'm the next miracle waiting to be found. That's the legacy. That's the magic. Money fades, markets shift, and records break, but inspiration? That lasts forever. Somewhere right now, as you're listening to this, another person is checking their coins, hoping, wondering, dreaming. Maybe in a small town in Pakistan, or a bustling city in America, or a quiet home in Europe, someone is holding a penny under the light, turning it slowly, believing that maybe, just maybe, they'll find the next one. And even if they don't, that moment of hope is priceless. Because the 1976 penny has already done its job. It has taught us that miracles are rare. They're just often unnoticed. It has taught us that destiny sometimes hides in the palm of your hand. The next time you find a coin in your pocket, don't ignore it. Look at it. Think about its journey. Where it came from, who held it, what it's seen. Coins pass through countless lives, carrying silent stories of love, loss, laughter, and survival. Some buy bread, some pay debts, some sit forgotten in drawers. But each one is a piece of history, waiting to be remembered. And maybe one of them, yes, maybe the one you hold right now, will become the next story the world can't stop talking about. That's what the 1976 1-cent coin taught us. That miracles don't need permission. That history doesn't choose the powerful, it chooses the humble. And that even the smallest spark, when it's meant to shine, will one day light up the world. So, when this story ends, don't just walk away thinking about the coin. Walk away thinking about yourself. Because just like that penny, you too are one in billions. You too carry value that the world might not see yet. And one day, when the time is right, your worth will shine, brighter than gold, rarer than diamonds, and stronger than fate itself. Because legends are not made in mints. They are made in hearts that never stop believing. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real treasure.